Good evening, Chavra. It's cool to see the guys at this time of day, so I thank the guys for coming, especially there sounds like there are other events going on, so I thank every guy for being here. I wanted to learn for a few minutes, and there's many angles. I wanted to study a pasuk. This week's parsha is Achrei Meis Kedoshim, a double parsha like the past week. And I wanted to study a pasuk in Kedoshim. There's a lot to learn in Achrei Meis Kedoshim. Unfortunately, most of us won't be together for Shabbos. I wanted to discuss a pasuk in Kedoshim that says as follows. It says, Le'sikal al cherish, don't curse out a cherish, a mute person. And then this is the words I want to study tonight. V'lifnei iver le'sitein mechshal. In front of a blind person, don't put a stumbling block. If somebody's blind, don't put a stumbling block in front of the blind person. You're not allowed to put a stumbling block in front of a blind person. You should fear Hashem. So don't put a stumbling block in front of a blind person. Now the mashmais of the pasuk, the simple pshat, is if you curse a cherish, he doesn't hear you. So he can't call you out. If you put a stumbling block in front of the blind guy, he won't know. Fear Hashem. Have you a Shemayim? Ani Hashem. I am Hashem. Hashem says, I see and I know. Have you a Shemayim. Have fear of heaven. There are people who are only concerned what other people say. We're commanded by the Torah to care about Hashem. The Rabbeinu Shalom sees, fear Hashem. Even the cherish who doesn't hear your cursing, the blind guy who doesn't see the stumbling block, don't curse the cherish, don't put a stumbling block in front of the blind person. So I want to speak about this Isser Daraisa. It's one of the 613. L'fnei iver lo sitein mechshal. Comes Rashi. The start of the sugya is Rashi says as follows: L'fnei iver lo sitein mechshal. That's what we're going to focus on. In front of the blind man, don't put a stumbling block. Says Rashi. L'fnei asuma b'davar. Very, very interesting. Rashi does not learn it literally. One would have learned this pasuk. Nice to see Aviyad. One would have learned this pasuk very literally. If a guy's blind, don't put a stumbling block. Rashi says an iver does not mean a blind guy. It means somebody who's iver b'davar, somebody who's blind in this matter. So what does it mean? Says Rashi. Lifnei asuma b'davar leisitein eitza she'ena higenes loy. If a guy's blind in a certain matter, don't give him eitza she'ena higenes loy, advice that's not good for him. That's what it means. Lifnei iver leisitein mechshal. In front of a blind man, don't put a stumbling block. Rashi says the pshat in the pasuk is don't give bad advice. Now I want you to know, Avi, Rashi, whenever Rashi comments, Rashi is learning the simple pshat in the pasuk. Rashi is always learning the simplest pshat tzvi. Why did Rashi learn? It means a blind guy, don't trip. How did Rashi know? When Rashi is mefarish a pasuk, Rashi's a pshat man. Now the Gemara says that giving bad advice is called l'fnei iver lo sitein mechshal. I want a pshat from a guy here. Somebody tell me, how did Rashi know not to learn kipshutai? The pasuk says, "L'fnei iver lo sitein mechshal." Don't put a stumbling block in front of a blind guy. V'yireis melekech avir shemayim. Ani Hashem, I know, I see. How did Rashi know, Aviyad, that it doesn't mean kipshutai? Don't put something in front of a blind guy. Rashi does not learn. He might see the pasuk from the pshutai, and Rashi says it means that you can't give a bad advice. And when it says either a blind man, it means summa b'davar, somebody who's blind in this matter. Somebody's unknowing, so don't give him bad advice. Rashi gives an example. Al taimar, don't say mechar sadcha. Sell your field and buy a chamar, and you go and take it from him. Don't give him bad advice. How did Rashi know? Why would Rashi learn a pasuk so not literally? Maybe it means literally. I would have learned it means literally. Don't trip a blind man. And included like a shtickle drasha is if a guy is unknowing, don't trick him, don't give him bad advice. Rashi does not learn the pasuk pshutai. How did Rashi know not to learn kipshutai, Chevra?
Right. Maybe we believe that a person wouldn't actually put a stumbling block in front of a blind person.
Nobody would do it. Yehuda says nobody would do it.
So
There's
much
always
of like,
there are reasons a guy's mad at a blind person. How did Rashi know? It doesn't mean kipshutai. Don't trip a blind man. Rashi, how did Rashi know? It says Rashi's always mefarish the simplest pshat. The Sifsei Chachamim's theory. The Sifsei Chachamim's theory is whenever Rashi quotes a Chazal. Now you could say, Kalish, why are you starting up the Rashi? He's quoting a Chazal. This is not Rashi's own idea himself. Rashi's actually quoting a Chazal. The problem is Rashi only brings Chazal when there's a kasha on the pasuk.
It's a very rare case.
What's the question on the pasuk? Not to have kipshutai.
I would say that it doesn't make sense that the Torah says that you should not only like trip a blind person, don't trip like even a person who's not blind. Like,
But because a blind guy's easy to trip, he doesn't see. So how did Rashi know? There's a very good scenario. Guy's blind. Don't put down something and trip him.
You want to have practical advice for every day, and it doesn't happen every day. We see a blind.
It's not a cash on a pasuk. Many psukim are specific scenarios. How did Rashi know, Michal? The pasuk says, "L'fnei iver leisiting milshav ireisim eleikecha." Pashup pshat is don't trip. Davidol. Pashup pshat l'fnei iver leisiting milshav means don't trip a blind man. Rashi refuses to learn pashup pshat. Rashi says, Summa b'davar, somebody who's unbeknownst to him a certain matter, don't give him eitz shena again a slay. Why did Rashi learn the drasha? Why not look? It's in Parshas Kedashim, Perek Yotes, Pasuk Yodalid. First of all, the Torah is allowed to repeat things. This is more specific. But I assume, Chevra, and there's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. I assume, Avi, the reason Rashi to learn Kipshutai is because the pasuk says, "Don't trip the blind man, fear Hashem." Fear Hashem, because like you won't be caught on this. You don't have to fear Hashem. You have to fear Him. He'll beat you up. The whole word of the Torah is you won't be caught. Here you'll be caught if you trip the blind man. He falls flat in his face. Now you could say, well, he won't know who put it down. The whole word of Yerusha Shemayim is nobody can know. Why does the Torah here say, you can never be caught? So Rashi is bothered, but you could be caught. If you put down a stumbling block and trip a blind man, people will see. Where's the Torah saying, fear Hashem? Has to be a matter nobody can know. So Rashi learns bad advice is something nobody could ever know. Nobody knows what's in your heart. I was giving advice. It needs to say, fear Hashem. Nobody could ever know. When you trip the blind man, why would the pasuk say Rashi was bothered by tripping a blind man if it meant kipshutai? You don't have to say, don't trip the blind man. God knows. Hashem. You shouldn't trip the blind man. We'll all beat you up. Everybody's going to catch you. The blind man's walking and you put out your foot at David. So Rashi's, if it meant kipshutai, it doesn't make sense to say fear Hashem. Because fear Hashem, you're still an idiot. Everybody's going to beat you up. Why wouldn't you be caught? So Rashi says it doesn't mean kipshutai. It means don't give bad advice. Bad advice, nobody can ever catch you. Because you say, Imam Mishel, this is the best advice. So on there it says fear Hashem. Bad advice, you pasha look squeaky clean. I just giving advice, but you had agenda-based advice. That's what I think. Rashi didn't learn Kipshutai. I think that's pshat. Now what I want to share, there's a lot I want to share in this Aviad. I once noticed one word in Rashi, in Chazal. Rashi is a Chazal. Rashi's called a Chazal. There's one extra word, Moshe, and I want to talk about it. It says you shouldn't give bad advice. Listen to this, Diak, Aviel. When it says you shouldn't give bad advice, so Aviad, it says like this, don't give bad advice, says Rashi. There's one, you have to read Rashi very carefully. Don't give bad advice. So Rashi says, if a guy's blind in a matter, he doesn't know something, don't give bad advice. Rashi adds two letters, one word. Don't give eitza she'ena yigenes loy. Don't give advice that's bad for him. Why did Rashi add the word loy? Eitz Hashem, again, it's bad advice. For him, you're giving him advice. Don't give, if a person's blind on a matter, don't give advice that's bad loy. I was never bothered by it. I never noticed the word loy. You have to read Chazal incredibly carefully, Aviad. It should say, don't give Eitz Hashem, again, it's bad advice. Rashi adds one word. Don't give a guy is blind, don't give Eitz Hashem, again, it's loy. It's not good for him. So let me tell you a story that happened in Yeshiva. And I want to ask you this. There are guys applying for Eretz Yisrael that we had years where Imre Bina would tell us that you have 30 spots. They never gave us a hard number, but it was clear that it was a certain number. So they never said you have 30 slots, but it was clear we had a certain amount of slots. They take people from elsewhere. So let's say the number, I'm making up a number, we have 30 slots. Imre Bina. There's a guy in Yeshiva who can go to Toras Chaim. And if the guy can go to Toras Chaim and takes the Imre slot, a guy who doesn't have another option will lose a slot. So for our system, it's better if the guy goes to Toras Chaim for the larger picture. For him, it's better Imre, let's say. Yeah, Aviad, the case? For our system, judging the rabbim, he has another option, another guy doesn't. So for our system, it's better if he goes to Toras Chaim. For him, it's better to go to Imre, and he asks you, what should you do? So you could steer him to Toras Chaim, because for your system, it's better. I think you're over in Issa Daraisa. If you don't answer a guy what's best for him, if you play God, I'll give you another case. A guy goes to a Rebbe, a Bacher, listen to this, and the Rebbe knows that the parents are very against the kid going to Waterbury. The guys, listen to this case. A guy goes, a Rebbe, parents say to a Rebbe, I have this story. I was called up by parents and they tell me, listen, the Bacher is going to come for an interview. Don't you dare take my son. Tell him not to come. And they tell me, if you tell him to come, you're causing bad things because we're not going to let him anyway. So do us a favor, just say he can't come. And the guy asked me, Rebbe, should I come to Waterbury? Now, if I tell him, yes, he should come, it's bad for his parents. And his parents say, if you give that advice, we're just going to fight you. So maybe big picture, tell him not to come. I think you're over in Issa Darais if you do that. I've been asked more than 10 times in my life, I've been called by parents, say, my son's going to call you, tell him, send him away from you. We don't want him to go. So if he calls you, send him away. We're telling you this advice. If I think it's better for him to come, even though in the global, but then it's going to be a fight with his parents. If I tell that Bacher who would go to Toras Chaim, and I think it's better for him to go to Imre, but for our system, I send him to Toras Chaim, I think you're over in Issa Daraisa. And I think it's one word in Rashi. Rashi doesn't say don't give bad advice. Of course he won't give bad advice. It says don't give bad advice. Why for him? You have cheshbonus in the global why it's good advice. In advice, you give the advice for the guy in front of you. Stop trying to help the world. He asked you something. You're over an Isser if you don't give what you think is best for this guy. Don't think globally. For other people, it's not your business. Not your business. This Bacher comes, what you do, and the best thing for him would be here. But for other people, his grandmother's going to get hurt. You're over an Isser Darais if you don't tell him what you think is best for him.
What happens when the other guy comes then? You're saying he happened to come first, so you
Why,
tell him?
baby?
You tell him the best thing for him. There's a story with Rav Aaron Schechter. This story is verified. A school came to Rav Aaron Schechter and asked him who you should hire as principal, and he said a certain Talmud of his. So they went to the Talmud. They said, we want to hire you as principal. The Talmud then went to Rav Aaron. Rav Aaron said, don't do it. So people, they came together. You imagine you're playing some game here. You told the school to hire the Talmud. You told the Talmud not to do it. And Rav Aaron said, my job is not to play Hashem. When you asked me, I thought he's the best guy. He asked me, and he wasn't trying to make jokes. He really put himself in. When the school asked him for the guy, the best thing, he knew that the guy's probably going to come to him. He wasn't trying to make litzanas. He was a busy person. That's a huge lesson. Don't play God. Answer this person the best thing. A kid comes and I think the best thing's here for him. He'll be ne'aviyad, he'll be with tzvi, so then tell him to come. The parents are saying, you tell him that, but we feel... I have to give him. He asks, he deserves the best advice. Don't play Hashem. Don't get global on people. If a guy asks you the best yeshiva for him, and for him, by the way, I have seen yeshivas advise a guy to leave because he wasn't good for the yeshiva. And they make it, if you kick him out, okay, check out a podcast. But I'm not talking about, I'm not talking you kick him out. I have seen people tell a guy, I have seen yeshivas tell a guy, you should go. And they're playing global, because for other guys, it's better if he goes. For him, the best thing to stay, you're not to let it go global when you give advice to somebody. When you give advice, it's what's best for him. A guy can expect, I'm asking you, tell me what's best for you, don't play God. That you'll see in your life's time, we're like, it's a good opportunity, now you're asked. It's like, okay, I could help out. You could help a lot of people out, but if it's not good for him, it's not good for him. I've been asked by a bacher, I've had case, a guy says he's friendly with a young lady, and for him it's good for him for different reasons. But it gets your school in trouble, you don't look very from your school, you can't tell him to stop hanging with the girl. If for him this is emotionally in some way is good for him, you're over an Isser Darais if you give bad advice and you play global. It's not well for our school, it's not good for a friend, it's not about that. For him, it's probably the best thing. And your job in advice is to look at the person in front of you and give advice. It's remarkable. So Rashi, I only noticed this when we had this circumstance with yeshivas. I never noticed the Rashi. I was learning the Rashi. It's this time of year when guys are clearing yeshivas, and I see the Rashi, I lost my mind. So there's times where you have a big picture and you're thinking the rabbim, you're not allowed to give advice to any individual thinking about the rabbim. It's not what you're thinking about. That's called Eitz Sheina Yigenes Loi. It's not good for him. You have global things. This will solve. You'll have times you'll see you could solve so much. Just a little advice. You solve like a lot of big picture stuff. A lot of cool picture stuff. Things fall into place. You're not allowed to do that. For this guy, it wasn't good for him. Simply not good for him. It's Eitz Sheina Yigenes Loi. You're obligated to think him. He asks you the shaila, what's best for you. I think when parents ask me that, they're asking me to buy even the rice, I'm not allowed to listen. I don't know how to tell you. If I'm going to meet your son, please when you meet him, I'm telling you it's better good. Just tell him no, we're not letting I'm not allowed to do that, I'm sorry. When he asks me, he's saying, what do you think's the best for me? I'm going to have to try to think about it. And if it's best not to come, tell him no. Best he has to come, yes. We could love him. He's the best guy around. It'll be great for the yeshiva. It's bad for him. It's great for everybody else. You have to tell him not to come. So there's an Issa Daraisa to give bad advice to a person. And your obligation, very exact, is to give the best advice for this person. Yigenes Loi has to be good for him, not to consider where it stands for other people. He's asking you, he has the right to expect that you're thinking him, not globally. Isn't that amazing, Yehuda? I find that amazing. I find that incredible. So that's the Pashup shot Rashi learns. It's ironic, by the way. Are you over lifting even if you trip a blind man as a good child? I don't know. Rashi is not learning that way, Kipshuta. If you trip a blind man, you might not be over lifting either. It's not what the pasuk's coming for. Could be other problems. You're a cruel person. It's very bad. I don't think you're over lifting either. Rashi's learning. Rashi learns lifting either. Simply means to give bad advice. Now, the Gemaras say if you cause somebody to do an Aveira, it's not how Rashi is learning the pasuk. If you cause somebody to do an Aveira, you overlift neiver also. Rashi did not learn that. Rashi spoke of bad advice. The Gemara says that if you cause somebody to trip on an Aveira, so you overlift neiver. Midday Raisa, you're only overlift neiver if they couldn't get the Aveira a different way. Guys in yeshiva have asked me, if a bacher asks you to drive him, halach l'maisa, dorm counts, I've asked. What's the halacha? You know a guy is going to buy treif, chas rachmana litzlan, machalos asuris, that can literally affect a person. I beg a guy, even he doesn't understand, doesn't know, don't eat bad foods. It becomes you, it's metamte, malev, don't do it. Eat kosher foods. A guy says to your dorm council, you have a car, the guy says, can I have a ride to the store, to Walmart, and you know he's going to buy treifus, are you allowed to halacha drive him? I've been asked this question numerous times. Halacha, we keep the Torah, we're loyal to God. A guy asks you, could I please have a ride to Walmart, and you know there he's going to buy something treif. Is it an Issa Daraisa? Lifnei Iver Leisitin Mechshel. You access Machaloi Sasuris. Is that us? Now, Midday Raisa, according to the letter of the law, it's only if he did, it's Trey Ivri Denara, 2 sides of a river. It has to be, couldn't get it elsewhere. So you could tiny, he had no way to get there. If he had his own car and says, now you could say he can Uber. Maybe he can Uber, he has other ways to get it anyway. Midaraisa, to be over, it has to be you accessed it and he wouldn't have been able to get it. Midarabanan, even if he could have accessed it, you're not allowed. So for sure, Midarabanan, you shouldn't bring him. You shouldn't, if he's going to buy Machalos Asuris, you shouldn't bring him. Say, I'm driving, you know buying Machalos Asuris. Are you over? If he asks, if he has no way of getting there, for sure you shouldn't bring him. Then so you're talking about a Darais of Lifnei Iver. If he has another way to get there, say v'say. And so he has another way anyway. He does Uber and you'll do chesed, it'll be better for again. He has another way anyway. What do you say, Rabbi Brown? If the guy's another way anyway. It's a real shit. We keep the Torah. We're loyal to the Torah, Chaver. Many guys here have cars. The guy asks you.
What if you went in not knowing, and then as you're like checking out, you notice something?
He didn't do an issue. You weren't Lifnei Iver. You brought him there.
Saying shit.
We have no bailus to say give it back.
No, I'm saying back to you, like saying.
Don't look lemaisa.
So what if that's your what do you want to do?
The guy asked for right. What?
Let's say there's nothing. You'll work out with the Geshmak Shtibbel Torah. You're not even there's no drabban Geshmak. Take a guy to what? Do a bad sign. Like I'm not.
He's doing it side, and if I hang with him, he'll become firmer. He'll stop doing it soon. Why not? Sayel advar avera.
I'm not so smart. I'm pragmatic. Why would you help a guy do a bad job? Well, that I didn't do it. Why are you giving me shtickle Torah? Don't help a guy do a bad job. Let's say the what?
Not so sure. If it's not an isser, I'm not. But if he spends time with this guy, he won't stop buying that thing. It's a good reason. Yes.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if that's what Rabbi just said, but maybe the cheshbon for the future, like hero.
If again, the rules, the parameters to that, the rules to that. If he has no other way to get there, and you know this, I say, Chevra. If he has no way to get there, and you know he's buying machalas asuris, it's an issa d'oraisa to drive him. That's clear. You have no right to take him. Clear. It's not a shaila. I have no question. If the guy has no other way to get there, and he says, could you bring me to Walmart? I want to buy something treif. You say, no, absolutely not. No, because I love you. I'm crazy over you, and I don't want you to eat treifus. If he has other ways to get there, so you take away the derais of Lifnei Iver. Now he has a clear machzik of the Aveira, the Rabbanan dik Lifnei Iver. The Rabbanans we keep too. But there are cheshbainis that he has other ways to get it, and you don't know for sure. Then you could talk to Sugya. If you don't know for sure, there are things to be mitzdarif. There are things to be mitzdarif. Probably won't. By the time he's finished the trip with this guy, he's not going to buy anything bad. Okay, I want to learn a Gemara. What do you say?
The guy is giving him, he'll be Makarvim.
Avada, of course. Why do you think? Of course.
Doing this will
depends. If the case of the in the case of the rice, I don't believe.
No,
With this, yeah. Because
you're saying drive him and then go else and don't go there.
Because you drive him, will become by the time you get. I'm assuming Revezi. By the time he gets to Revezi to Walmart, the guy's going to want to buy. He's going to want to buy Kiddush for Shabbos. What do you mean?
I'm not going there. Yeah, I'm not going. I'm not such a geschmack guy. I'll probably
I'll be
drive off
honest.
the cliff. Don't get them with your cheshbonis.
What? What is?
Oh,
Rashi's learning, don't give bad advice. The Gemara says you can't cause a person to do an Aveira. Can access an Aveira to a person. Driving a guy to Walmart. So we have two pshatim, Chevra. It's going to get much more exciting, Yaakov. How are you? So Chevra, so far we have two pshatim. I want to learn a Gemara with the Chevra. It's going to get even more exciting. So right now we have Rashi, Maishla, not to give bad advice, and we have. Somebody said halacha was boring today? I just never got that memo. And we have a second, thing that you're not allowed to access Isurim to a person. We have Rashi's pshat, we have the Gemara's pshat. You're not allowed to access an Aveira for a guy that he can't get. The example we gave, if a guy can't get to Walmart, and you bring him to buy machal zasuris, you're accessing an Aveira to a guy. It's very interesting he's called blind. Because the guy knows it's Aser. So what do we mean, don't stumble the blind guy? What does that mean? What are Chazal saying? Clearly he's doing an Aveira, there's something he doesn't have. There's a lack of perception. The blindness is he just doesn't have. He doesn't have. There's a blindness there. Now he says, I don't care, he's mad. There's a blindness. He doesn't have the impact of Machalis Asurais. So that's a blindness. Don't put a stumbling block in front of the blind man. Is don't access the Aveira, betray Ivri Dinar, which means he couldn't get it any other way. So if a guy asks you for, it's like a funny thing almost. A bacher asks, do you have, can you drive me? Listen to the irony, and you know he's buying something Aser. So you tell you have another way of getting there? He's like, no. So he said, then I can't take you. You have another way of getting there? Yes, okay, come with me. It's like the guy's like, I can't figure this out. I needed you. What'd you say, Maish? Maybe the guy doesn't have an Uber account. If he can't get, what'd you say? I'm saying you're right. If he has an, what'd you say? Maybe no. It's not always. By the way, if it's not so simple, then you can't. Maish, I'm in a serious way. I'm not here just like I'm talking about practically. The guy really can't go. He's not. His Uber account's over, and he's telling you, "Could you drive me there?" And he doesn't have another way. You shouldn't take him. That's the halacha. I'm not kidding. If he has another way anyway, you know he has an Uber account. There's another way anyway. We can clear it. If as he wouldn't take him, we can clear it.
Determined to get something again.
There's within the point is that it's not so easy for you. So then I wouldn't do it. Okay. I'd like what? No. If you don't know what he's getting.
What if he wouldn't get it without it?
What?
He wouldn't get it without it.
What do you mean?
Get it. It's too much of a bother.
Just don't bring him. So don't bring him. That's where, as he said. But then there might be cheshbonus. Us Lubavitchers, there's coolest. By the time he gets there in the car with Marta, it'll be like a chsid l'shir. He's gonna.
What's the reason you're allowed to take it?
What? Because then it's not lifnei either. So then it's a cheshbon. Then you can clear. I'm not saying you can. There's a clear. Because not lifnei daraisa. So then you could say I'll be makarim. I don't know for sure. Then already you can handle. If he has other rights. What? It says like there's an isser that helps him to do an aveira. It's a drabanan, even if he can get it. Yeah. I'm saying again, if he has no other way of getting there, absolutely not. If you know he's buying machal sasuras.
I don't know anything, and there's I don't know anything.
Tell the guy you come with me and don't know buying machos. When I drive you, I don't want you buying.
I can say that I don't know.
But listen, the guys love the guy. The chevra, it's all love. I would. There's never a guy who wouldn't drive. I would just tell him when I drive you, you're not buying machos asuras.
Oh.
People are nice.
Oh, tell him.
100% I would do that. I would drive any guy in the yeshiva, and when he walks in my car, takes you to Walmart, he ain't buying machos asuras. My car doesn't. You go in your car. Avi Avi Bertram car brought you there. You only buy good stuff, and you look for a good hechsher. Okay. I'm telling you what I would do. I'd make sure the guy knows that. My car drives you, buy good stuff. A guy says, no, I won't. So I say, okay, I'm sorry. That's lach. They'll listen to Avi Bertram. One guy eats a bite of your cake, he becomes from Avi, please. Avi Bertram. You know how many people are going to have from dairis because of your cake, Avi? Come on. It's true. There's love in there. In the ride is a game changer. There's love in the car. What do you mean?
If I see Torah,
What?
if we're listening to a song, we can't go. Then I have to go and we have to talk. And then I have to
Just he's with you. You don't have to talk. Okay, Chavra.
You're not able to think either. I'm ready to have that conversation.
Right.
But why would I be?
Yeah. So then it depends. I wanted to say lifnei iver the other cheshbainis. I want to learn a Gemara. Radezi wouldn't bring anybody female.
I would get. He would come in my car. I'll go tomorrow.
Chavra, I'd like to start. Akiva, Johnny said, and you're so sure it's treif. Johnny's like the Akiva. By the way, this I'll say: if the guy's going there and he's telling me he's buying triangle K, I'm driving him all day, every day. Please take my van, go buy out the store. That I'll tell you. But, yeah.
We're making it a lot.
By the time they're going through everything on a shopping list, the guy like
don't buy bacon, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So everything but bacon.
I want to learn a Gemara. There's a remarkable Gemara with the Chevra. I would like to study. Avi, I'd listen to this Gemara. We have 8 more minutes. I want to study a Gemara Kedushin with the Chevra, remarkable Gemara, and talk about a little bit more about Lifnei V'Leisitei Mechshel. The Gemara is on Daf Lamed Beis, Leiv. It's interesting because it says about Lifnei V'Adavar Maser Leiv, Yaresim Elekecha, fear God. It's given to the Leiv. It's on Leiv and Kedushin. Everything's Hashkacha. So listen to Gemara Daf Lamed Beis and Kedushin, and you'll join the party. The Gemara says like this. The Gemara says a story of Rabba bar Rav Huna. Rabba is the son of Rav Huna. Follow with me, Yankov. Interesting. You like stories, Yankov? So do I. It's interesting. In the Musar world, stories are important. In the Chassidish world, stories are important. In the Gemara world, stories are very important. Very, very important. You'll learn a lot from stories. Reb Nachman, at the end of his life, felt that the Divrei Torah wasn't going to the heart of the Talmidim. And he felt if he tells stories, it will pass the mind. They're going to that. I like stories a lot. Maisha, you a story kind of guy? I'm a big story because I like my heart connecting to things. So listen to this story the Gemara says. Rabba bar Rav Huna, the following. Rav Huna, his father, Kara Shiroi Ba'anpe Rabba Brei. Can I show off a little talent that I have, Chevra?
Yes.
A little talent. Now. Okay, now. So, one piece Morty was about to get me in trouble ripping school property. Tremendous thank you for Morty for taking care of this whole campus. Always a tremendous thank you. So, I did not rip it. The bottom line is that Rav Huna wanted to check out his son, and he ripped up a garment in front of his son. You hear this, Maisa? He rips up a garment. Rav Huna rips up a garment in front of Rabba, his son. Why did he do that? Amar, he said, Ezel, I'm going to go. Echsi, I'm going to say, Rasach, Eloi Rasach. Let me see if my son gets angry. I'm checking him out. I want to see if my son's going to get angry. So the tata rips the son's beged, testing. It's a bechina. They had different bechinas back then. So his bechina is, he rips up, right now the Gemara thinks it's his son's garment. He rips up his son's garment in front of his son to see if his son will get angry. That's what Rav Huna does in front of Rabbah. Now Rashi says he wasn't checking out if he gets angry or not. It's mevur in the Gemara, you'll see. Rashi said he wanted to see, will he say a mean line to his tata? What's his kibbut av like? So his father ripped up the garment. So let me see it. Let me see my son's kibbut av. So he said, let me see what my son's made out of. Is he going to say something nasty to the tata or not? So, let's the Gemara. Let's frack the Gemara like this. It's mivur in the Gemara, by the way. I want to express that he didn't rip up his son's garment because he's not allowed to touch his son's garment. He ripped up his own garment, but his son would be mad because this is very weird, because the son says, I want to inherit you. I don't want you wasting your money, Dad. That's a pretty nasty son. The son's worried when the father is frivolous with money. He says, I want to inherit you. But the bottom line is, Rav Huna rips up a garment in front of Rabbi's son, and he rips up his own garment. And he does to see if his son will curse him out. Dad, don't do that. Frech the Gemara of a Dilma Rasach, maybe the kid will get mad. And the father's over lifneiver. How does he do that? Let me see if he curses me out. He might curse you out, and you're over lifneiver. It's a pasuk in our parsha. You're not allowed to get a guy to do an avera. Here the tata ripped up the garment, and he said to give a bechina to his son. Maybe he'll curse me out. If he curses you out, you're over lifneiver. How are you allowed to do this? You're mamish a danger to your son. You're stumbling him on an avera. Very dangerous. What do you say, Shleim? Shleim said a guy he's ripping his own stuff up. So he rips up his own garment in front of his son to see if his son will say, Dad, it was his own. To see if his son will say, Dad, you idiot. Oh, no kibbut av. Frek the Gemara, maybe the kid will get angry. V'dilma rasach, and you're over lifneis even leisiteng mechshal. Now, there's not what I want to talk about. There's actually a bachlaikus. If you do something to get a guy in Avera and then he doesn't do it, are you over? You give him bad advice, but he doesn't listen to you. You present him in Avera. Two ways I saw Chakira as how to read the Gemara. The Gemara says maybe you'll get angry and you'll be over lifneiver. Either means if he cursed you out, you'll be over. Or the Gemara means since he might get angry, you're over even if he doesn't. So Shaila had to learn the Gemara's teretz, the Gemara's kasha. But the Gemara nonetheless asked that he might curse you out. How did you do that? The tata ripped the garment to check out his son to see if he'll get angry. And frek the Gemara, he might get angry. And for the Gemara, the machal leila yikrei. The father was Michael before. Unbeknownst to his son, the father says, whatever he does for me, I'm Michael. You're a holy father. The father was Michael, so there's no deraisa of lifneiver. It's only, I want to see what is kibbut av's at. So the machal yikre, the father was Michael, is covered. It's pretty amazing. Oh, Rabbi Kiva Shlita asked that if you do an aver, if you try to eat basa chazir, you thought it was chaz and it was really kosher, and you do a maisa, it's still an aver, Hashem yislach lo. So Frekter B'Kiva, the son didn't know the father was Michael. What is the Gemara answering? He was Michael, Frekter B'Kiva. So Taisvis asked for B'Kiva's kasha. Taisvis is bothered by the same kasha. What does it help? He was Michael, but the kid didn't know. So the kid's over an Esther then. If you thought you were going to do an Esther, even though you don't get punished for machshava, but if you carried it lidei maisi, even though the maisi you're over. So Taisus asked for B'Kiva's kasha. Taisus said he told the son. Always bothered me a lot. Taisus a Pella. He told the son is Michael. Now I like this whole case is such a whacked out case. He says to his son, I'm Michael, whatever you told me. Then he rips it, like the son. Then he wants to see if the son's going to curse him out. But the son knew Dad was Michael. I want my sons, whatever my kids say, I'm Michael. My kids are not punished. I'm Michael. Now let's see. So the father told his son, interesting taisvis, the father tells his son, Amoichel. So he told his son, but then he ripped up the garment and he wanted to see what his son's going to do. So says the Gemara, there's no lifnei iver on the son cursing out the father. The father was Moichel. I have a kasha for years, Chevra. Why is there no lifnei iver on the kas? Is kas an avera? Is anger an avera? Now I want to say this, if anger is an avera, all of us get angry. So what do I mean kas is an avera? It's very tricky. Kas is human. So what do I mean? So Aviel says only if you do something mitoich the kas. To get angry is just a human. To make anger an avera. Now the Gemara in the Nedarim does say kol hakoyes kol minei genim sholtem, but we get punished for kas. The Gemara in the Nedarim says kol hakoyes. Now all of us get angry. It's just human. Very dangerous to tell somebody anger is an avera. Of course. How can emotion be an avera? It's just, I feel angry, manase. So Aviel says it means if you do something. This Gemara is a shtickle raya. There's no avera to be angry. Because the only question is he'll say something to his dad. The Gemara is not worried lifniver on anger. The pashtus is because there's no issur to be angry. No issur. Now you have to learn. The Gemara in the Darim says kol hakoyis kol minei genim sholtem. It says it's bad for koyis. Could be it means if you don't work on it. If you don't work on it, it's not. A person should work. We get angry is normal. Learn to talk back. Learn it's normal to get angry. It's normal to get angry. Very normal. Could be it's no isser to get angry. As for the pashtus Gemara is no isser to get angry. The Gemara has no kasha lifniver on the kas. The only kasha is if he says something to Tata. On that, the Gemara says he's Moichel. On the kas, he can't be Moichel the father. The answer is no isser on the kas. Kas is a human. That's the pashtus Gemara. There's no isser on the kas. That's the pashtus Gemara. What to do with the Gemara in the Darim that says kol hakoyis kol minei genim sholtem? But either it means if you act out on the kas, you break something, you're damaging, or like Aviel says, not to work on kas leads you to bad places. Kas is a normal emotion. Work on it. You have to talk back. You have to work on it. I had it sad, Chevra. I don't want to share the sad. Leave it like that. I want to go weiter in the Gemara. Frag the Gemara weiter. Oh, different. Let's see a little further. Frag the Gemara v'ka'avra mishum bal tashchas. He's over bal tashchas. So isser daraisa to be wasteful. Had he rip up the garment to give a bechina to his son, it's bal tashchas. Frekt martche, that's the best use. Right, cast him out in front of the whole yeshiva. Frekt martche, send him $10 for that kasha. Right, Kestimam once took $100 bill in front of the whole yeshiva. I think it was 100. Who was was anybody here? There, right? Kestimam took. I think it was $100, but I'm not sure. Somebody has to ask. I don't want to say a ligon. If it was 20, then it was this. And right, Kestimam in front of everybody ripped it to shreds. He was bringing something out, and he took 20. I'm not so impressed. 100, I'm pretty impressed. But he ripped it to shreds. Yeah, don't tell anybody. I don't want the feds to show up to right, Kestimam. What? Is that true?
Yeah, we once by accident shredded like a lot of money.
They give it back? Maybe Rai Kestimam knew that. Now, Rabbi said, guys asked Rai Kestimam with Bal Tashchis. What's the answer? Maritcha says, what's Bal Tashchis? I didn't destroy it. I did it to test my kid. It's a good use. Rai Kestimam had some musser he was bringing out. So what's the Bal Tashchis? What do you hold, Eli? Why is it Bal Tashchis? The Gemara asked Bal Tashchis. Bal Tashchis, he wanted to test his son. He had a reason. Clearly, he had a point to testing his son. So Daniel says, you see, the Gemara didn't like this. Bechina. Bechinas are bad. No tests. You can't raya. You're not supposed to give tests. Tell the podcast. There's a raya, you shouldn't give tests. Because if it was a word, if a test is useful, so then it's not Bal Tashchis. Okay, I like that, Daniel. But what's Maish Yod? I'm asking the Gemara asked on Bal Tashchis. Why did he rip up the garment, Maish, to see what? Where his son was up to. He wanted to understand his son's madrega. He was testing out his son. Frekt the Gemara, it's Bal Tashchis. You're not allowed to destroy things. Frekt Mordechai Samovich. Here there's a big purpose to destroy it. What do you say, Els? Strong kasha, no? Should I tell you a very poor answer? You're not going to, the answer is not, this is the least geschmack answer I ever heard. I want a geschmack answer. I don't have a geschmack answer. The poorest answer is the Gemara answers that he did it on the seams. He ripped it on the seams, so it was sewable. Now, I want to claim there are places in Shas, it's only a question because there's an answer. The Gemara meant it's baltashchis. They're good. There are better ways to rip it. This is why you ripped it the better way. If there was no other way to rip it, it wouldn't be baltashchis. Right? Kestimam, to bring out his point, had to rip up the $100 bill. So it's not baltashchis. The Gemara, when it asked baltashchis, knew the answer, Rabbi. Tyson Bamitzia says sometimes Gemaras ask questions because they know the answer. As far as baltashchis, the Gemara meant because isn't there a good way of ripping it up? Answer the Gemara, he ripped it on the seams. If there would have been no good way of ripping it up, it wouldn't have been a question. The reason it's like a dirty answer is it's only a question because of the answer. When we asked the kasha, we didn't know the answer. But sometimes, you hear what I'm saying, Maish? When the Gemara asked baltashchis, it knew there was a good way to rip it up. So the Gemara really was just saying, it's baltashchis if he ripped it. No, he ripped it on the seams. It knew there was an answer. If there was no seams to rip it on, it wouldn't have been baltashchis. The Gemara asks, it's baltashchis. Answers the Gemara, he ripped it on the seams. I'm explaining only because there was an option of ripping on the seams. Was there even a kasha baltashchis? If we didn't have the answer, the question wouldn't have been a question. The Gemara asks, it's baltashchis to rip it. If there was no answer, there was no good way of ripping it, it wouldn't be baltashchis. Because no other way to do it. That's what Martha says, not baltashchis. He has a purpose. He's testing his son. I'm saying it only asked it because it knew there was an answer. Because it knew there was a kosher way of doing it. Sometimes in Shas, I'm not being medayik it, I'm saying it's possible that it only asked baltashchis because it knew there was a way of doing it, knew the teretz. That's weird, because it asked the question before it knew the teretz. But it's only a question because there was a teretz. So when it said it's baltashchis, it means, isn't there a way to do it that it doesn't destroy? It says, well, yeah, that's how we did it. That's really what the Gemara is saying. It's a shtickle doichik. You know what I'm saying, Avi? The Gemara asks, had he rip it up to test his son? It's baltashchis.
Why does that have to be an answer?
Now, if there's no other way of ripping it, at that point, do we know there was a way of ripping it without destroying it? No. So then what's the question about baltashchis? Because Martha says he's not destroying. It's a good point. Baltashchis is not to wastefully destroy. It's not wasteful. He wants to test the son out. So it's, when the Gemara asked baltashchis, it knew the terrace, that there was a way of ripping it that wouldn't destroy it. Has he ever seen something like that? Is there another pshat why it would be? Does anybody, is that baltashchis? If I want to rip up the 20 to teach you a lesson, that 20s are not so chashuv, would that be baltashchis?
I think anyways it is. I don't like lessons.
But he held it as a good lesson. He had some lesson. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't even know what his lesson was. I don't know what his lesson was.
No, okay, so yeah.
I don't know what his lesson. I'm just
saying if you need small paper.
Yeah. So here he was checking out his son, like you said. Almost sounds like in the Gemara that is baltashchis. It wasn't what it's meant for. Figure out another way to teach you a lesson. It's not so pashut. What do you say, Abby? You're allowed to rip up a 20 to teach a lesson? Let's stop in Ma'av. Yashkoyach habayis. Yashkoyach habayis. Let's stop in some Ma'av.
I have chocolate. If anybody wants chocolate, I'm going to bring it in 1 minute.